very good morning to everyone, and it's quite exciting to be here on this stage meeting such great personalities coming in from all the verticals and on a topic which is so relevant, which is imagining India for 2047. At Detect, we started from this very place. I am an IIT Madras alumnus. We are 4 people who founded this company, Detect, with a single line of vision and mission, which is to make industries intelligent globally using artificial intelligence and machine learning platforms. I'm not going to talk a lot about industries today. I'm going to talk about a very core topic which I think will impact this whole country in the coming times. Artificial intelligence being an inevitable future for cybersecurity. When I say inevitable, what I mean is it's already there between us, it's among us, it's just that we don't realize it. US says that artificial intelligence will ensure that they are able to fight and win the wars of future. Today, the amount of investments being made in this area is just humongous. About $5.08 billion are being spent into artificial intelligence for cybersecurity, growing at a very rapid rate, is expected to become $14 billion plus. Is expected to become $14 billion plus in 2026. About 10 million large security malware attacks have been reported in 2018 alone, right? That's one of the reasons why such a large investment is being made in this area. And about 6 trillion US dollars is the amount that is lost because of these attacks across the different verticals in the global economy, right? Specifically speaking about where we are, the Asia Pacific region that we are living in, as per Cisco, about 6 threats are being reported every minute, right? And these are large threats, 50% of which each one of them cost about $1 million plus. The growing digital transformation that we have put so much of impetus in, and specifically in the Asia Pacific region, there is so much of impetus on growing digital transformation that is leading it further into higher cyber security threats. There is ineffective cyber law, there is lack of awareness. All of this is making us 80% more vulnerable as compared to the rest of the world, right? So let's go a step back and understand AI. AI is quite an abused word at this point, right? It's a very big buzzword. We all talk about it, but very few people actually understand what it is. It's a popular word, it's a buzzword, but I just want to make a simple distinction between artificial intelligence and data analytics. Data analytics is something which is static. You take a lot of data, you mine out the key information from that data, and you create either a system to have that information coming in real time, or having it sort of coming in the same manner again and again in a repetitive fashion. It's not self-learning and it's not dynamic. When you create dynamism into it and when you create a self-learning component into it, that's what is artificial intelligence. It learns from its experience, and artificial intelligence are of various nature and types. It's not limited to this. This is a slightly busy slide, so I'll just walk you through it. It's very important to know the fundamentals. Artificial intelligence are of various types and nature. When you talk about, let's say, assisted intelligence, it's widely available today. Today, what we practice today is assisted intelligence. It helps you make your daily jobs better, make your daily things better. Augmented intelligence, which is coming up more and more these days, which is helping you do things which you could not do otherwise, right? It's making you do newer things which you actually could not have done before. And then autonomous intelligence, which is just a thing in future. Right now it's coming up. Self-driving cars, which you see coming up in near future, right? This is going to be self-learning, as we call it, right? Already many things in cyber space is already very autonomous. And that's what scares a lot of people and a lot of governments in general, right? Then we have machine learning, which uses statistical techniques, as we know, which uses those techniques to effectively make things learn. expert systems which are designed to solve problems within certain specialized domains. And then you have neural networks, which is biologically inspired engineering to enhance your learning. And finally, you have deep learning, which is what we use at Detect quite a bit. And in fact, now it has been benchmarked that using deep learning, the ability to recognize things in images is much better than human beings. So what you can recognize in an image, a deep learning technique can recognize it a lot better and a lot more accurate, right? So how do we use all of this in cybersecurity? Cybersecurity has a lot of applications of AI, and that has been pretty much active over the last few years. Authentication, password protection, network security, vulnerability management, phishing detection and control, as well as the very big important piece, which is behavioral analytics, how a person behaves, how an organization behaves, how an industry behaves. So all the behavioral analytics becomes a part of cybersecurity. Certain key advantages of using this: you can handle a lot of multi-dimensional data, data from a lot of different aspects and varieties without having any human intervention whatsoever, right? You can have targeted application for key objectives that you would like to mine out from the overall noise of data or the large quantum of data that you usually receive. And you can easily identify trends and patterns without really involving a person in place, mining out, removing all the noise, creating all that things into place, right? Just taking one example. When you have a hacker which is sitting there and you have a sort of a person on the other side which is defending the system, this is how the correlation works. And hacker would use adversarial AI as well as the AI powered attacks to strengthen their attacks, to keep sort of finding loopholes into the defenses that have been created. And the same AI can be used on the other side for strengthening the system, for proactively protecting it, and fortifying the AI for it sort of withstanding the adversarial attacks that are coming from the other side. You are seeing this coming more and more as the world is progressing. Today, there are various things that have already happened. There is Nachi Worm, which is, RPC vulnerability for your blaster removal and installed patches that has come across in the world already. There is Mirai, which happened as a malware strain which took over the entire of the IoT world, right? And Reaper and IoT Troop, which hasn't even been launched properly, but it is a virus that is very well known, that will come and it's expected to spread automatically, and is still something that has not been unleashed properly. When it gets unleashed, you can imagine what can happen. So how do we do these things? How do we do the breach risk prediction and all the different things? What typically gets done is you hook on all of your different types of data devices, such as your drones, your cameras, your mobile phones, your social media, mails, connected sort of networks, sensors, routers. All of that gets integrated into your data lake, which is a centralized server where a lot of governments are making investment into making these servers of their own. Then again, there are of course the shared servers like your Amazons and Googles of the world. You create certain analytics on threat detection, loophole detection, abnormality and vulnerabilities that are present across the potential presence of hackers in the system, and then you benchmark it internationally to find out how secure your IT infrastructure is and how secure your government cloud infrastructure is. I won't spend too much time on this, but typically some downsides of AI in cybersecurity is also there. You need to have a very good algorithm and a very good infrastructure to support this, because on the other side, the hackers are also cyber savvy. There is the evolution. So once you put a system in place, it doesn't really stay that way. Every month and every 6 months, the systems keep on evolving, and you have to keep on doing more and more research on top of it. And there is a high adoption barrier. You simply don't have that high adoption because the accuracy percentage, the probability distribution, all of that effectively is something that discourages most often than not to adopt these systems into conventional practices. So taking all these disadvantages and advantages into account, we must still be investing into this, right? Given all the security threats and all the different types of technologies that have come into place, right? And the reason why we should invest is the first mover advantage to co-develop and customize certain solutions is going to give you edge internationally. Today, the whole world is evolving. There is no developed and underdeveloping country when it comes to cybersecurity. Everyone is at the same stage globally. The first mover advantage is what is going to give us the edge over the others. There is increased efficiency by leveraging the latest technologies, as well as creating the different types of mechanisms that can then be used as an actionable item. There is a lot of law that is required here. So as you know, there is GDPR norms that have come across which requires you not to access the personal or identifiable information of people, which makes it very difficult to have your AI really come to fruition. And then there are other kinds of things such as end-to-end encryption and so many other things which makes AI very, very difficult. So there are different types of laws required into making this real. Lastly, what I would say is the only way to win this whole thing is to strategize, implement, and ensure, right? You have to strategize to understand what problem you're solving. You have to bring in the right technology. You have to bring adoption of that technology. And then you have to validate that and you have to scale it across with some co-development across startups as well as universities spread in the country, right? And this is an image I really like, which is even if someone is there, technology is there, it's helping you solve things. Unless you're willing to take it, it's actually meaningless to have that technology in place. That's all. Thank you.